Welcome to the Smackdown podcast. We are your hosts, Kyle and Rob Rude, your one-stop shop for all the WWE main card reviews, recaps, predictions. We're not doing NXT or 205 Live just yet. You know, definitely not doing Ring of Honor, New Japan. Just ain't got that kind of time.
Hey, we might be doing AEW though. I mean,
oh hell yeah, we're going to be. I mean, if we want people to listen, we're going to have to do AEW. That's probably going to be the first show we pick up. But for right now, Kyle and Rob, we're sticking to Raw, SmackDown, and whatever pay-per-views are coming up. Today's show is going to be centered around SmackDown from last week, or this week, rather. Excuse me. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Otherwise, if you look in that little search bar, you can look up SmackDown Podcast. Will pop right up. We are also found on Podbean at smackdrawpod.podbean.com. And Rob just got us on Spotify.
we made Spotify, y'all. And I'm
Dude,
looking.
I'm
gonna look into Apple Pod, whatever you do on Apple. I know some people, I don't know. But yes, we made Spotify. We made Spotify,
bro. You made my morning when I saw that.
Not that it's hard to make Spotify.
Shh, you don't have to say it's hard, man. Make it sound like an accomplishment.
But they don't give it to everybody. Just say
they don't give it to everybody. They gave it to us, though. They approved us. If you're following us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at SmackDrawPod. If you want to talk to me more directly, I'm at the Kai Tai Show, and you can find Rob at
2 words. Can't see me. I'm thinking of changing my @ y'all. I don't know if it's too long. Got 2 words for you.
Yeah, but that's 2 words. Can't see me for the time being. 2 is TWO, and C is just the letter C. We'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We are an early podcast. That way, we really value the listeners that we do have, and we encourage interaction. So please feel free on YouTube, drop a like, share, subscribe, please. Make sure to hit us up on social media. Any way you can talk to us, we will be more than happy to talk back, especially on Rob.
Tommy Medzius. Thanks for the YouTube sub, bro. It's on my phone right now. We caught that
sub.
Tommy Medzius. It means a lot to us. It means a lot.
And the show's questions today are going to be brought to you by some of our favorite Twitter users. We have at GreatLove91, at Chat Wrestling. I don't know if we can even say that. At Splatter87. A couple of your friends here at Old School Pants.
He's got a good podcast, y'all. Check him out. If y'all are into Impact, check out Old School Pants. He is good. I don't follow Impact personally, but listening to his podcast, I want to know what's happening in Impact. What are you talking about? Is he going to get the win? Who wins this match? Old School Pants is good, y'all. Just want to throw that out there. Old School
Pants. And then, of course, we also have at Turtle _BITW. Hopefully that's how you say your name. But anyways, once again, thank you guys for the interaction. And we're going to go ahead and get to it. But first, it's been a pretty interesting week in wrestling, especially today, May 23rd. We're a little late to the SmackDown recap, but today marks, unfortunately, the tragic 20-year anniversary since we lost Owen Hart. On top of that, I believe today was also Brian Pillman's birthday. Shout out to his son, Brian Pillman Jr. I believe he's going to be in the what's that battle royal? You know it off the top of your head, Rob? The 21.
I have no idea. You talking about AEW?
Yeah, it's AEW's Battle Royal, and Brian Pillman's son is going to be involved.
I have no idea, to be 100% honest. We got some AEW questions later. I'm going to throw it out there now. I don't know much about AEW, so that's going to be part of my answer. I don't know what's going on with AEW. But I do want to throw it out there that I didn't even tell you this before we started talking. You told me you were going to shout Owen Hart's 20th anniversary. I didn't even tell you. Yes. I wanted it to be a surprise for you, or I don't know. It's not really that big a deal. But growing up, my uncle bought all the WWF pay-per-views, all the WCW pay-per-views. I'm sitting here peeking, guys. I'm sorry if I'm peeking. I changed my mic levels, and it looks like I kind of went too high. But we already started recording. I don't want to change it. I'm sorry if I'm peeking. Anyway, my uncle used to buy all the WWF pay-per-views and the WCW pay-per-views, and there was me, his name was Carlo, and a couple other guys. We all paid $5, $10 a piece, and we all watched the pay-per-views. That's how my uncle afforded $120 a month on frickin' wrestling. I was 20 years ago today, I was sick. I didn't see it happen. I felt so left out. I mean, please don't take that as, oh my God, I can't believe I missed a guy die. It was a memorable day in wrestling history, and I was part of everything except that day. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now that I wasn't there to witness it happen. Like, I mean, I'm sorry that it happened. I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way. Oh, I can't believe I didn't see him die. Like, it's not that at all. It's I grew up with it, and it happened, and I wasn't part of it.
I was only 11, and I don't think I was fully into wrestling by this point. I think I was still about a year away or so. I think it was just because I had watched wrestling, I think, prior, but I think during that period of time, I don't think we had cable, so I just didn't have a way to watch it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have one for my uncle. Like, here's to him.
Speaking of what, did you catch? You may have seen it on Twitter, but did you see? I saw it. I remember watching it. Did you see? Mark Henry's touching moment when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, pleading with Owen Hart's wife to allow him to be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Oh man, tearjerker it is too, man. You gotta have like strong gut and watch that thing and not well up. Yeah.
Right. I'll look
Mark Henry though, for a big guy, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Though,
he really does. He really does.
Mark Henry is just an amazing.
He's a big old pillow,
person.
Man. He's a big
everything I've seen. Yeah, man, he's a good guy. Lastly, the biggest news, this is pretty much what's on most people's mind, is we do have AEW, their debuting pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, this Saturday, May 26th. Rob and myself will be covering it. We're going to go ahead and talk, Rob. I don't know, we can talk, depending on time, after the show, maybe during the show or afterwards offline. We'll talk about seeing if we want to put out a predictions video on it. It'll be the most coin flip prediction video ever, but
I don't know, man. We'll see.
We'll see.
Again, another thing I was going to throw out on the questions later, because we did get a couple of AEW questions. I'm trying to keep it a secret because I don't know much of what's going on, and I kind of want to keep it a secret. I want it to be unfolded in my face as it happens, but at the same time, what's a match that you're watching it in your face, but you don't know how hype it is? Like, what if there's like a super duper match that everybody has been waiting their entire life for coming up Saturday, and I don't know, and I'm just like, oh look, another regular wrestling match. So I don't know. We'll talk.
It's probably I mean, if off the top of my head, the ones that you are familiar with it, I mean, the one that would go probably the biggest match, and if you're not familiar with indie wrestlers, would probably be the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. That's probably guaranteed to tear the house down. Absolutely. And then, of course, if you're not familiar with Kenny Omega, which if you're not by now...
I do know who he is.
Yeah, but you've been living under a rock if you at least haven't heard the name.
Okay, I have heard the name. I don't know who he is, but I know he's a thing.
It's okay. we'll forgive you for now. You guys, any listeners, feel free to send Rob gifts and match suggestions on Kenny Omega. Let's fill this guy in. But anyway, his match with Chris Jericho, that's the main event. That's going to be a good one, too. Other than that, I think SCU, they have the 3-on-3 tag match against this. It's a Japanese, I believe, promotion. You guys forgive me. But I believe it's very young talent, like 3 really young guys. And I think I've heard some rumblings that that's going to be a good one. So there's going to be some good ones. If you're only a WWE fan, a lot of this is going to go under the radar, but trust me, it's all going to be worth a watch. I don't know much about them, but I know it's going to be watch. But anyways, we're not here to talk about AEW today. We're here to talk about SmackDown, May 21st edition.
More AEW talk later, though. Like I said,
more AEW will come
questions,
later.
And I am excited.
Yeah.
One of them I'm very excited to answer. Just saying.
Shoot. We're struggling to get WWE questions. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it's AEW.
That's what everybody wants to see. I mean,
yeah, it's the new hot thing, man. You can't get mad at it. You can't be.
There's really nothing to ask about WWE right now. I mean,
anyway,
there is, but there.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty to ask, but most of it's more or less like around like what are you thinking? But anyways. The show opens actually really fun. You got the New Day. You have Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods out right at the entrance. ready to introduce Big E back. I was surprised to hear that Big E was coming back so early, but it turns out he's just well enough to walk around and, be part of the show, but he's not
be part of the show
clear.
And pop some ratings.
Yeah.
Right now, I want to throw it out to the listeners that I keep saying it. Eventually, there's going to be a time where I don't have to say I am still fairly new to the game. I actually sent you the tweet earlier that led to me watching the Royal Rumble, that led to me being here today, January 22nd. Another Twitter account of mine, somebody said, "Oh, but I can't play Destiny this Sunday because I'm watching the Royal Rumble." And I said, "Oh yeah, the Royal Rumble. I guess I'm going to re-up my WWE." I gave them my $10, watched the Royal Rumble. Here I am. Anyway.
Bam, they sunk their teeth in you. Just like that.
Even before that, I watched from the outside. I have I got a buddy. His name's Wally. I was gonna talk to you and see if you wanted to bring him on the show one day. But that's down the road. Just to have some bullshit questions, whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk.
I messaged him when I was watching, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He was I seen this on yahoo.com, what happened, and he'd tell me. And I hated the New Day. I hated the New Day with everything that was me. I thought it was the dumbest gimmick I've ever seen in my life. And I would text him, and I would say, "Bootios, come on, man, that's the dumbest thing ever." And now they're trying to actually sell actual boxes of cereal on their web store.
Dude, Big E pulled Bootios out from his trunks and would, freaking pour it into kids' mouths. I don't know how that was. By the way, I'm not hating. But it baffles my mind.
I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And when they hosted WrestleMania, my friend Wally sent me a text message. It was like, "Guess who's hosting WrestleMania?" I was like, "I hate them. I can't stand them. I really cannot." And he would send me gifs on Facebook talking about "don't be sour." And I absolutely hated them. The point of me telling you this is I went to a house show in March. Again, I was fairly new. I didn't know who I liked. I didn't know who I did like, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. The New Day's music hit. The New Day faced The Bar and Shinsuke Nakasuma.
That's a good matchup too.
And who was he hanging out with for a while? Rusev, who's got the manager chick with the black hair. I think it was black hair. The only reason I remember that they had a manager is Kofi was throwing pancakes at her.
Are you talking about
I think it was
Aiden English? Was he singing? Did he sing for Rusev?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think it was Rusev and Shinsuke. I think
Rusev, in my knowledge, has only had two managers, either Lana or.
Well, it might have been
Rusev
Lana.
Day.
It might have been Lana. Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't matter. The point is, it was a three-way tag match, and the New Day was like, blah blah blah. We're the New Day. And seeing them in person and seeing how they handled themselves, I started thinking, maybe it's not so bad. And then they started throwing pancakes at their opponents. And then they started throwing them at the manager. And then I think one even got tossed at the ref. And, watching it live in my face, I was like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. The whole point of me telling you guys is the New Day won me over at this live house show harder.
Simply put, New Day rocks, man.
Oh, my God.
New Day rocks.
A New Day rocks chant started in the middle of the match, and I was all in. I'm like, yes. I'm going to play you some audio right now. Kyle, I told you, you're not going to hear this audio. You'll hear it on the playback.
You're good, man. Yeah, you're good.
Guys, listen to this. This is New Day winning this match, and me giving the hardest 3 count you've ever heard in your life. Just take a listen. 1, 2, 3. That gave me goosebumps just listening to that. Oh, my God. That was so amazing. Oh so man. Yes.
Me too.
I hated the New Day. But then they won me over. They won me over hard. I just wanted to throw that out there, guys.
No, they're a ton of fun. I remember watching them. I'll talk about it briefly because, just to be brief. But I remember watching them when they first came out, and they were the power of positivity, and it was just kind of a bunch of I don't know, church going motivational people, and it was just horrible. And somewhere along the lines when they turned heel and they just let themselves be obnoxious and let their personality shine. They became amazing. It really did, man.
Yes.
It's difficult to not like the New Day because even if you're not a fan of the antics and the personality, all you have to do is go watch any New Day match, but particularly the tag match, the Hell in the Cell with the Usos. watch any match they had with the Usos, or especially the Hell in the Cell match, and their in-ring ability will win you over there. They're the total package, man.
Valid.
They really are.
When they did their WrestleMania thing and they brought out like the ice cream cart, like I'm sure anybody listening remembers the image of Miz and I can never remember his wife's name. I have a terrible memory, guys.
Maurice?
Yes.
Blasphemy. When they were best remember Maurice, son.
Man, there's times I forget
royalty, bro.
There's times I forget my own kids' names, man. Anyway, when they were going back with Shane and Miz, and then Miz and Maurice, that face they made, that face, that was me when the New Day came out with an ice cream cart at WrestleMania.
Oh my God! Yeah,
but that was from the outside. But when I was on the inside, like. I fell in love with him. That was a long segment we just had, but I just had to emphasize that I hated the New Day, and all it took was one live show of me actually shutting my mouth.
We've covered 45 seconds of SmackDown so far.
Right.
Man, it's
good.
The
New Day is one of the best things to ever happen, man. It's one of the best things to ever happen.
It's good, and you're an Attitude Era fan, so I mean, this is good that you find people you gravitate to. That's
why I don't understand why I hated the New Day. Because like, if I had a spirit animal like tag team, other than the New Age Outlaws, like everybody knows the New Age Outlaws from the Attitude Era.
Oh man,
it'd be the New Day, because I'm the type of guy. Like people even call me out on Twitter, like only you. Like when I did a tweet and it was a picture of Brock from Pokemon, the letter E, and then it was the word boom, and then a cardboard box leading to Brocky Boombox.
Gee, I saw that. Like, actually, I did see that.
If that's not like New Day style, like you get what I'm saying? Like, oh.
Yeah.
Like that's me all day. I don't understand why I didn't resonate.
It's funny. Last thing I'll touch on, then we'll definitely have to get back to the show. But it's funny that your name, your persona is Rob Roode, and you've probably got to have one of the most friendly, innocent personalities that I've had the pleasure of meeting. Like, it does not meet up, man. Like,
right.
It doesn't line up with the name, but hey, man.
I didn't want to spell it like the same exact way as Bobby Roode, but I think I'm going to have to.
With the double O-D-E.
I wonder if I've had people like look at my name like, I don't want to talk to this guy.
It wouldn't be surprised, man. Some people will judge the book by the cover. But anyways, let's get back to the show now. Let's get back to the show.
Okay.
All right. We'll get caught off track in another 3 minutes. All right. It's cool. But the like I said, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, they come out to introduce the returning Big E, and they run back and they have him draped under like a towel, and I find that hilarious. Like, it's so anticlimactic. So they do the drum roll. They reveal Big E. Yet it's not Big E. It's probably either a local talent or a young NXT guy.
Shout to WrestleMania. It was a producer. He didn't say what, like, exactly how high up he is or whatever. But yeah, in a video I watched today on WrestleMania, he was a producer. I don't know. He didn't say what he produced. That's all he said was he was a WWE producer.
So he is part of the He's under the WWE umbrella.
Yes, he is hired by WWE. He gets paid by WWE.
Okay.
He does his thing in the back, whatever he does. I guess they just needed a guy, and he said, "Hey, it's me."
Right.
I do.
I wonder how they picked him.
One time, let me go off track. Just one more quick time. It's quick. I promise, guys. It's quick. Big E.
You've almost filled your stamp card, Rob. I'm just letting you know.
That's okay.
I don't almost filled this stamp card.
I don't care because this one's worth it. Big E, his Twitter @ is Florida Man, right?
Yes, yeah.
Somebody showed me an article saying Florida Man arrested in Florida for eating pancakes in the middle of the road. And I screenshot it,
Big E, bro.
and I added Big E, and I said, bro, is this the real reason that you're not around? I thought I was going to get a response. That's golden. I got nothing.
You might, man.
No, I got nothing. No, this was a long time ago. I got nothing.
Well, unless someone else got to him first. And he didn't feel like
I was so disappointed. I thought that was a home run. I'm like, I'm gonna get something. I'm at least gonna get a like out of this. So I got nothing. I was so disappointed.
It's funny, man. Sometimes we'll feel so proud about something we post, and then it's just like a desert and just dry.
I'm sorry, guys. Back on track.
But anyways,
we had a fake Biggie.
Fake Biggie, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, they take their turns roasting him. The one thing that stood out to me, they were like, You're Big E if he was left in the dryer, which that got me because he was a skinny guy. He's a much smaller guy than Big E, who was built like pretty much like the African Brock Lesnar. So, but anyways, after they kick him off the stage, we of course get the real Big E. He comes out to a massive pop. Who people love this guy. Like honestly, like Big E is a star. And I think just the 6 weeks he was gone just like made us grow even fonder of him and appreciate him more.
It seemed like it was so much longer than 6 weeks. I missed him.
Yeah,
I really did.
He's so charismatic and funny. And I don't know how to explain it without just sounding like I'm sucking up, and I'm not going to get on that hype train. Just he's a ton of fun, and he adds that element to the show, which sometimes you fall victim to taking yourself too seriously. And then when Big E's on the screen, you don't have to worry about that, and you can just have fun. And sometimes that's why we want to watch wrestling, because we want to be entertained and we want to have fun, amongst many other reasons. But at least he fills that part to a T.
That's valid. That's valid. Which is another reason why I'm not gonna go off track this time. Which is another reason why I didn't understand why I was like, how could I hate the New Day? Like the New Day is me. I mean, guys, I'm the one guy that thought the Usi Hot segment was hilarious, and I'll take that to my grave. That was funny. I don't care if it wasted talent.
Like that, you have to like the New Day.
It was funny. Exactly. Yeah, coming out there with trombones. Like Big E was like, somebody tweeted him and was like, "When are you coming back?" And he said, "When Xavier lets me put my whole mouth on his trombone." Like,
oh Jesus Christ! Okay, so I don't know if we can say that on the show, bro. I'm saying, like...
He was talking about his trombone. New Day rocks. New Day rocks.
Anyways, they make their way to the ring, which is decorated like a big, welcome back, almost / birthday style. They come out and they're pretty much cutting their babyface promos when they're interrupted by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn, of course, is feeling left out. He was gone for months with his injuries and double surgery, and he didn't get no big return celebration. So the New Day, having plenty of roast fuel left, roast him, say they're going to give him the same thing they gave Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank, and that's nothing. They start singing. This is too much for Kevin Owens to take, and unlike Kevin, who normally can look aggravated, frustrated, or fed up, he just looked defeated. He looked so really sad, and he just turned around and was like, "I'm not even bothering this."
Yes, he walked away.
And
okay, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I lost my notes on this. I don't have my notes. I don't have my notes. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to talk less, which might be why I'm feeling so much. Anyway, the whole point is I remember a spot for my notes on this that if you guys want to go back to SmackDown, check it out. It is worth it. When Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were standing there staring at the New Day, there was a member in the audience that I don't remember what the note said. I don't remember why I noted this fan, but the fan had a big blingy WWE logo necklace on, and it was blinging. Like, I wanted it. I'm like, this is nice.
Somebody screenshot it. Find the screenshot
yes.
Rob is looking for.
They were. I don't remember what it was. They were giving Kevin Owens a dirty look, or they were laughing at Kevin, or they were pointing at Kevin. But this crowd member caught my eye and made it to my notes. That's really the only thing I remember from my notes.
Which we've lost.
Yes, I think I threw him away with the raw notes, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know what happened to him. I can wing it. We're good. But I remember this fan distinctly because I was like, look at that fan doing what she is doing to make me notice her. I don't remember what it was. It was something.
Well, there we go. So we're looking for camera angle showing the fans on the side of the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it's a female.
It was a female, and she had a big blingy WWE necklace on.
Okay.
Boom.
Find that screenshot, folks. Find it, please. Anyways, after Kevin Owens leaves, Sami Zayn, he cut a pretty scathing promo on the crowd like he's so good on the mic. Really I've kind of been joking about it. I feel like he's just Vince McMahon's mouthpiece, like Vince McMahon's filter to what he feels like about the crowd and Twitter and everything. Because if you think about it, it would make sense if that's what Vince really feels about his fans.
That's valid.
But
that could be. I've said it a couple times. When Sami Zayn, like, he's the heel and we're supposed to hate him, but he is so good at what he does. When he talks shit about us and the WWE universe, it makes me want to look in the mirror and emphasize what have I done
Really,
wrong in
really
my
assess
life?
your situation.
Where has my
Yeah.
life gone wrong? He's that good at what he does. He really is. The only problem is a heel's not supposed to make me feel that way. I just want to throw that out there. But he's absolutely amazing at what he does.
Well, that's the modern day product. Is the fans are conscious to like what good work looks like in the industry now, and
Yes.
so like the more hardcore fans will appreciate good heels.
Yes, I
You know,
appreciate it very much.
and
But
it's a weird
going
spot
off
we're in.
track again. The reason I said what I just said is you got Baron Corbin. I hate Baron Corbin. I can't stand
Yeah.
him. I want him off my television. Now again, I say it all the time, guys. I'm not. If you like Baron Corbin, more power to you. Stand up.
It wouldn't be a
put your fist in the
Smack Raw
air.
show
Yes,
without
yes.
Rob declaring his
I'm
hate
just,
for Corbin.
I can't stand the man. If he would disappear from my television forever, I wouldn't even notice. But that's me
This
again,
dude
guys.
has
If you guys
rented
like
out
him,
space in your head, bro.
Boom. Yeah, he really has, bro. He really has. But the point of what I'm saying is that's a good heel. But then you got Sami Zayn, who is also a good heel, but I love it. Keep calling me a piece of shit. Like, yeah, do what you do. But then you got Baron Corbin. He's like, I'm a heel. I'm like, yeah, get off my TV.
Get off my TV, Baron Corbin.
So I mean, it's two types of heels. I guess that's what I'm
Right.
trying to get at. Anyway,
No, you could.
back on track. Sami Zayn's sitting there doing what Sami Zayn does best. Awesome heel work.
He pretty much says the jokes will be over when he faces Kofi Kingston in the match later on. Kofi retorts
Which
with,
was bullshit.
I have a bunch of swivels and I like to joke and play, but when it comes time to, when the bell rings, us in the New Day, we throw down. And the crowd cheers. This little badass edge that Kofi's been getting has been working really well for him. And I like that he doesn't play too heavy into it as well. Like he doesn't overcompensate, but then again, he doesn't shy away from telling you like, yeah, no, I'm tough. And it's a good look for him. It's a very good look. We follow up that segment with the opening match of the night, which arguably could have been like the match of the night. You have Andrade versus Ali, and these guys can steal the show any day that they're allowed to. Andrade with his manager Zelina Vega, man, these guys make a great duo. Ali has just really come out of nowhere. I've seen this guy for a while now, ever since the first Cruiserweight Championship tournament that they held. Ali has been good, but he's kind of under the radar. But now he's really coming into his own.
Speaking of Ali, I do got to ask another thing I remember from my notes.
Yeah.
When did they drop the Mustafa thing?
Excuse me?
When did they drop the Mustafa thing? Like, it didn't say Mustafa. It just said Ali.
No, I know. Yeah, so...
Which makes sense. It fits him more, in my opinion. Nothing against the name Mustafa, but, like...
You might be alone in this. So I'll touch on it briefly. But so one of the things that seems to happen all too often in WWE is you get call-ups, and then you get guys also that are already established in the program, and then they undergo these name changes for no reason.
Yes.
So back in the day, a name change would usually follow with a change of your gimmick.
Yes.
But lately,
Valid.
the word on the internet is Vince just doesn't like guys to have too long of names in most cases. So he shortens names. So Andrade is also fallen victim to this. Andrade was Andrade Cien Almas. They dropped Cien, so they Andrade Almas, and then they dropped Almas. No reason.
Is that like his real name, or is that just a stage name?
It's just what they do.
Okay,
they did the same thing with the guys in Heavy Machinery.
I was just curious.
They've been doing it forever now, and it's just Ali is just one of the victims. Just one day they were like, you're just now Ali.
So everybody likes the Mustafa thing. I'm like really the only guy that likes just Ali.
I think it's not so much like, I think it's more of people being sick of just the pointless
random name changes. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, without rhyme or reason change to the character. And I think part of that comes from A, it feels half-assed, and then B, it feels maybe like you could tie it to their stripping away some of the character. Actually, that's a good question for our audience that you're listening. What is your major problem with them shortening the names? Granted, there's a lot of reasons to be upset. Give us your specific reason why you disapprove of the name shortenings, or if you're one of the minorities that approves of it. Let us know your take on it. But anyways...
I do.
Andrade.
I want to take 1 second to throw out. I recently found out that Charlotte and Andrade was a thing. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't follow many like actual wrestlers.
Like the news
like,
and yeah.
No, I follow the news, but like actual wrestlers on Twitter, because like I follow a lot of people, and like I don't want like Charlotte Flair. She's worth a follow. You know, I 100% like agree. Becky Lynch, I have her notifications turned on just like she's.
Dude, Becky Lynch is Twitter gold. You have
exactly.
You have to follow.
But like, I don't want to follow like the actual superstars because I want somebody that I'm actually going to engage with on my timeline, rather than a Charlotte Flair who's going to ignore me, or a Biggie that's going to ignore me on my golden freaking tweet that you should have.
You obviously have not.
Like, bro, I was seriously like, man, this is golden. This is anyway. So I didn't know they were a thing. The reason me saying this is somebody retweeted the picture of Charlotte Flair and Andrade when Andrade put the ring on her. I just want to throw it out there that they are a sexy couple, man. Like, like Jesus Christ. Like, I am like nothing against gay men at all. I am as straight as you can get. But man, like, he is a good-looking dude. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this picture is golden. This is the type of picture you put in a picture frame that you buy at the dollar store to make me want to buy the frame more.
Rob, stop. Stop. Okay. You talk this up. Eventually, Andrade gonna follow you.
Oh, that's cool, bro. Follow me. I'll follow you back.
Fudge cakes. Okay. So, back to the match. Jesus Christ. Back to the match.
It's out there.
A couple of cool spots. You got Andrade and Zelina cut their duo pose where Andrade's whipped into the ropes and he flies sideways and he's suspended between the middle and the top rope, and Zelina's on the ring apron behind him, and they pose together. Looks amazing. And then a couple other big moments in the match, which Ali was gaining control in, but the story of the match was he was still injured from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. At one point, Ali does a flip over the top rope onto Andrade in the outside, but lands on Andrade's knees, looking really painful. It was then followed up with Ali being on the ring apron, being tossed on all the way back onto the barricade on his back again. At that point, the damage was too much for him to take. Eventually, he does make it into the ring. But unfortunately is caught in a cradle for the 3 count.
Man, I gotta throw it out there though. I thought that.
Oh no, actually, I'm sorry. Ali was able to manage to get. I have my notes backwards here. Ali actually managed while hurt to roll up Andrade and to win while hurt.
Yes. But he almost. Another thing I remember from my notes. I'm amazed I remember this much. That 10 count, it was a 9.99 count, and he made it in the ring.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh my God, this is actually going to be a 10 count, which would have fit the story. Like, I mean, his back's hurt. My man just got thrown into the barricade. He's out. Like, his back is hurting. He can't even get back in the ring. But he made it back in there. That was one of them exciting moments. I just remember that being in my notes, so I had to throw it to you guys.
So at this point in the show, we're going to go ahead and all of the R-Truth 24/7 title segments. We'll wrap them all up. Earlier in the night, R-Truth backstage wearing what I referred to as a Khaleesi wig from Game of Thrones. And wearing a blonde wig. R-Truth is comedic. I can't even try to walk through the jokes because there's no way I'm going to deliver them the way R-Truth
it's not even worth. R-Truth was a funny man.
Not even worth
and
trying,
he had us
dude.
Rolling. R-Truth is comedy gold.
Oh, man. He's had this belt for 2 days, and whoever takes it off of him already has big shoes to fill. Let's just say that.
Oh, my God. I actually tweeted that earlier, and I tweeted that with, like, wholeheartedness. When he loses this belt, I'm going to be super sad.
Well, there's a lot of avenues that the belt can play that will be funny. It plays so easily into R-Truth's strength. But it's going to play well for other people who get it too. I personally can't wait to see Drake Maverick get it, and then maybe see like the random referee who wants a belt, a title reign, some stupid stuff like that.
I do want to shout out the Fickle podcast. Like, I love them guys. Them guys they're from Detroit. I actually
Fickle podcast.
Yes, they're amazing. I don't. There's Yeezy, and then there's Duke, and then I don't remember the other guy's name. I'm sorry, guys. I have a terrible memory. Please don't take that personal. They were talking about how they got into how do they feel about the 24/7 title, and I like them guys because one guy feels this way, and then another guy feels that way, and they don't argue about it. They're like, "Oh, your point is valid," and then that's it. They go on.
We need more of that.
Like,
we need more of that. We can disagree, but still be cool with each other.
Yes, it's actually they've been shouting us out on Twitter, and he started tagging you too.
That's awesome, man.
Anyway, the point of me calling them is Duke said he didn't like the 24/7 title, which his reason is valid, and the reason I am bringing this up is because later in today, because when I'm at work, guys, I think of podcasts, I think of content I can bring you, I think of what I've listened to and how I can talk about content with other guys. I'm just throwing that out there. I was thinking of the 24/7 title, and I tweeted out how I'm gonna be sad when R-Truth loses it because he's Twitter gold right now. It has nothing to do with what he did with Carmella on SmackDown and how he put a wig on and made a crack about how he couldn't open a bra, which I thought was amazing. That's me. It's freaking comedy gold.
I missed that one.
But the point of calling them out was they said it's another title on the card, which is valid. There's like 14 titles in WWE right now, and we have titles like the Iconics didn't defend their tag belts at Money in the Bank. The SmackDown belts, which we thought was on the line with the Usos, wasn't. So you're just adding another belt. They actually said that Jim Ross said in his podcast too that that's another belt on the card. And throughout the day, I was thinking it's not a TV belt. Lose the belt on Twitter. R-Truth loses the belt at the restaurant on Twitter, and then on SmackDown, whoever you just said, I don't remember who you just said, I was ranting, the next guy you want to see it, comes out on SmackDown holding the belt. And the casual fans are like, how'd this guy win the belt? Boom, they play the Twitter video on the Titantron. They play the
Twitter video, and now they get you online. And
boom. Oh, shit. Well, I'm going to go make a Twitter, and I'm going to follow R-Truth. I'm going to follow this guy because he has the belt. I'm going to follow that guy. Boom. You have a 14th belt that you can't fit into your pay-per-view. Fit it in a Twitter. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the 24/7 belt is going to be like a skid belt. It might have a match here and there for the title, but it really is just going to be a skid belt.
It doesn't even need a match.
Just for skids.
I don't even want to see a match. I don't want him to see this match is for the 24/7 title. That takes away from it. Now you're scheduling? No, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what they could do? This was fun. Harping back to the hardcore title, they had like an Iron Man match, but it was just like 30 minutes or like 20 or 30 minutes, whatever. And it was a battle royal hardcore match, and it was just whoever could own the belt by the end of the 30 minutes. So the belt was changing hands just constantly through the match, and that was pretty cool. But I think a lot of it played into the hardcore stipulation.
Right. Which you can't pull off.
You can do nowadays. You can't do any blows to the head, and that's what most of the hardcore stuff was. Your trash cans, your stop signs, your chair shots.
I think
most of those were blows to the head, and you can't do that now.
I think it's more. I mean, yeah, you could be 100% right, but this is another thing that I thought about throughout the workday is if you're like a hardcore listener for us, you know that I'm all about the Attitude Era,
right?
Everything from Mae Young to giving birth to a hand. To everything, and that, I mean, yes, there were crappy stuff about the Attitude Era, but I take it as a whole. The Attitude Era was hardcore. That's the way you could put it. So the hardcore title worked. People hitting people in the head with trash cans and this and that. That doesn't work nowadays. You have to take the hardcore aspect out of it, but you can keep the 24/7 rule and it still works. I'd much rather see it as a hardcore title. I'd much rather see trash cans to the head. But you can't do that nowadays. It just doesn't work with today's
CTE
society.
Stuff, yeah.
It just doesn't work.
All the lawsuits.
But I'm still down with, like I tweeted earlier, R-Truth at a freaking restaurant ordering with the waiter, and the waiter gets knocked out of the way while R-Truth gets rolled up. Boom, you lost the title at a restaurant on Twitter. There was no hard.
I'm full for it, man. Like I said, some of the best skits back then was the Crash Holly defending that stuff and like escaping in the most random places behind like that weren't part of the venue. But of course, we only got them, during the program. But now with social media, we could watch that stuff happen live, and with the WWE Network having live coverage There's so much more possibility to play into it, and I think they will. We're so early into this. This belt has only been part of 2 television programs. You know, we're already so early. But what's great is we're all very intrigued. It's a very polarizing topic. People love it and are intrigued with the possibility. Some other people hate it, feel it's too gimmicky. But the one thing is it's drawing attention. Yes. And we all know if you're a fan of the wrestling company, if you're drawing attention one way or another, you're doing your job.
Yes.
You know?
If people have their eyes on you, they have their eyes on you. That's what you're going for. Yeah. I just really wish it wasn't so ugly. If it wasn't so ugly, like, it would have got like the crowd, you wouldn't have sucked the air out of the stadium.
Dude, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of into it now.
I'm all about it.
Like, no, I mean, I'm kind of into the look.
I can't do it. Yeah. I can't do it. It looks
it's because of just how I don't know how to put it, man.
I can't do it.
It's the look has won me over. I wouldn't want it to look more serious. I wouldn't want it to look more prestigious. This is supposed to be a silly title. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to serve primarily a comedy purpose. So you don't want the belt's aesthetic to take itself too seriously. You know what I mean? Because think about it back in the day. Think if the hardcore title was debuted in nowadays era. Just think about it. Like, you know, go ahead and just what that hardcore belt was a world championship title.
It was the belt that Shawn Michaels held. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember.
Yeah, it was a world championship. Could you imagine nowadays if Shawn Michaels was as prominent of a figure now as he was back then, and then them seeing they made a hardcore gimmick belt out of his belt being like his destroyed belt? Wow. People would hate it, dude. They would come out with pitchforks and you know, and so it's we all just need to take a chill pill. Like I said, I think
what you're trying to say is it matches what it is.
It exactly.
It matches what it is.
It fits what it is, man. It's just we as fans now feeling that we're much more part of the product than just bystanders and watching it. Mm-hmm. We feel a certain sense of entitlement, and myself included too. And so what happens is when something initial happens that we don't agree with, we're more reactive. I'm not saying that we're toxic. I'm not going to throw those terms out there. We're just reactive.
We have social media, so everything means more.
Yeah, we don't take the time to process and come up with a well thought out thought and really assess how we feel. We take that initial gut feeling and then bam, throw our thought out there, you know, and then realize what's going on later on. And so that's why, like I said, you know, at first I was like, dude, this is the ugliest thing, and it sucked the wind out of me too. But now I'm a couple days into it, and dude, I'm all about it now. I'm totally all about it.
I did want to ask you. I'm glad I remembered. Another thing, bringing up, guys, me being on the outside looking at what's happening on Yahoo and Google and whatever, not watching, but knowing what's going on. Before this title, what was the last title revealed? The Universal title that they made a big deal that they had it under a blanket and everybody complained about it. Was the Universal title the red one?
Well, it was. I mean, if you want to go backwards, title for title, you have Kofi Kingston's title at WrestleMania. No, I mean like
new championship, not like Daniel Bryan turning into
the women's tag team.
It wasn't women's. I know it wasn't women's. I was part of that. I was here for that. I ain't that old, or I ain't that new.
No.
It was the Universal title, right? I swear it was the Universal title.
The Universal title came right after the brand split because the WWE title went over to SmackDown.
Okay, was it not the Universal title then? Is the Universal title that old? Like, it was recent. Like, it was like
the women's. Yeah. So, Daniel Bryan's belt. You're thinking of Daniel.
That. No. So I don't think so. It was a title they debuted, and everybody said it was ugly as hell.
That would be the Universal title. Was the most. That and Daniel Bryan's.
Okay, it wasn't Daniel Bryan's because I was part of Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, you could be thinking of the Universal title, but they debuted that.
Really?
But yeah, because everyone hated on it because they felt like it was cheap because they made the belt red to represent it's the Raw title.
Oh, you know, that's exactly what it was. Okay, I was on the outside watching that. The point of me bringing that up was, bro, that title's pretty. and y'all bitched
You
about
like it.
And then they're gonna bring out the 24/7 title. Y'all shouldn't have bitched about the Universal title. That title's pretty.
You thought it's like, hey, you thought this title?
Exactly. You thought this title was ugly. This title looked like your world belt. It's just red. It's still pretty.
Yeah, man.
Okay, that was the whole point of
yeah.
bringing it up. Yes, it was the Universal
No, I got
title.
you now.
Was
I
it
got you
really
now.
that long ago that they debuted it?
It was right after the brand split because they held a pay-per-view to determine it was a triple threat, I believe. I remember Dean Ambrose was in it along with a couple other competitors. Dean Ambrose was representing SmackDown. Whoever won the belt, that's where the title went. Everyone assumed it would be a Raw superstar because it's the main title, but it's not how it went. Dean Ambrose kept the belt. It went to SmackDown. Still on Raw, they created the Universal title, and that's how it came to be. And that was immediately following the brand split.
So,
Yep.
So nowadays, I actually meant to ask you this too. Again, guys, I'm still fairly new. I'm learning. The Universal title, is that nowadays considered the Raw and SmackDown champion combined into one, which would be the
it's
unified belt?
essentially so the WWE belt is that's the title that's been in WWE forever.
Yes.
But the Universal title arguably has the bigger stars.
Okay,
so,
that's exactly what I was trying to ask. They seem like they're making a bigger deal out of the red belt than the world belt. Like
because Raw is technically, the A show. If you were to ask Vince McMahon, which show do you care about more? It's going to be Raw.
Yes.
So whatever the world title is on Raw, make a bigger deal out of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why SmackDown has had the more unlikely world champions, hence being Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Bray Wyatt, Jinder Mahal. I mentioned him earlier. He was baffling. Many of you guys may not notice, and this is kind of irrelevant now just because I was thinking about it, but Jinder Mahal has a longer title reign than both Stone Cold and The Rock. And I found that baffling. I was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Jinder Mahal had a longer Stone Cold.
All right, we're back. We plugged cables back in, and I don't know. Sometimes the internet can be bad. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. We got majorly sidetracked there. Majorly.
So we're just gonna.
Ali rolls up
whatever
Andrade.
we were just talking about.
We'll
just go back to R-Truth.
Yes,
we were talking about R-Truth.
Don't get me started again. How awesome this 24/7 title.
No,
is.
it's okay. We're just gonna get into the show. We're gonna kind of just try to stick to the show now. So starting off with what we were mentioning earlier, R-Truth was first seen backstage in disguise, trying to hide from all the other competitors, of course, trying to take advantage of the 24/7 rule. He is recognized by Carmella. She brings him into another room, and he pretty much just pleads with her to hide him. He does make a funny joke saying that he only needs to hold the title for 6 more days before it's his, because it's the 24/7, meaning 24 hours for 7 days. Ha ha. Anyways,
I didn't even catch that. Really?
Yeah.
Man.
It was a good. Anyway, she agrees.
He doesn't hold that belt for 7 days. Oh man.
Yeah. So she agrees to help him, and it's in the form of disguise. He dresses him up pretty much as her. So her match with Sonya Deville, he accompanies her out to the side. They're doing their dance together. Ultimately, the match between Carmella and not Sonya Deville, excuse me, Mandy Rose, is more of a backdrop for the 24/7 belt, because only a couple minutes into the match, pretty much the loser locker room all comes out to chase R-Truth off. He scoops up Carmella. They make their way backstage out into the parking lot, where Truth barely escaped the B team's attempt to steal his belt. At the end of the day,
guys, my 8-year-old daughter, I just want to throw it out there, when they were on this when they were on the screen, my 8-year-old daughter pays attention. She asks me what's going on. She wants Kofi to be the champion forever, which means WWE did their job towards the kids, whatever, blah blah. The whole point of me cutting you off was my 8-year-old daughter looks at the screen and goes, B team, go, go, go.
go. Jesus, that ain't one of the most annoying.
I gave her
my son loves it too. Dude, my son is 3. He loves that.
I gave her the biggest high five I've ever given anybody. I'm like, yes, you get it. Okay, he's getting chased. I'm sorry, guys. He's getting
No,
chased.
no. Yeah, he makes his way out. Next up, before the Sami Zayn and Kofi Kingston match, we find Big E backstage holding on to his knee. He's complaining that Kevin Owens attacked him. Anyways, back out into the ring. We go ahead and get Kofi Kingston waiting for his match. Before his match can begin, or excuse me, his match does go on. My notes. Kofi Kingston has his match with Sami Zayn. It's a pretty straightforward match. It's good. Sami Zayn hits his Blue Thunder Bomb on Kofi. But Kofi was able to reverse it into a Trouble in Paradise and ultimately win. After the match, while Kofi's hurt, and everything, we get Paul Heyman.
I do want to ask before we get into Paul Heyman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Paul Heyman showing up without Brock. I want to throw that out there.
Big surprise, Brock wasn't there.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm the first guy. Again, I'm the guy coming from the outside to in, so I haven't had time to hate Brock Lesnar like all you guys. So I'm all about him, and I'm all about Brocky Boombox. But that moment right there stopped me, and I was like, wait, where's Brock? Don't prove me wrong, man. Like, I'm trying to tell everybody he quit MMA. He might be around.
Dude, he barely showed
up
for Raw. Ain't no way Brock showing up on SmackDown.
Anyway,
it just ain't happening.
That's beside the point of why I cut you off. We'll get into that. Big E. What do you think the odds are of him faking getting hurt so that he would go to the hospital and Xavier has to be with him so Kofi was alone to get his ass whooped? And Big
that
E's
does seem like the
flip.
way. Yeah, man, it seems like that's the way it's going.
I mean,
you've ever watched the product before? I mean,
Xavier hasn't been around.
Fine.
Like, even I just mentioned my 8-year-old daughter, guys. She's been asking me, "Where's Xavier? Why isn't Xavier around with Kofi?" And I've told her they want.
Do you mean Big E? Because Xavier was out there.
No. But Xavier hasn't been coming to ringside.
Oh, because Xavier's been hurt at times and stayed in the back. Yeah, you're
right.
But
we're looking at it right now the way I'm talking from an 8-year-old's perspective. You know
I got you.
I'm going to start bringing up more, guys, because we all need to look at it more like a child. It's so much more like enjoyable when you look at it as a child.
Jesus.
Anyway, Xavier hasn't been there. I tried telling her it's because Kofi's the world champion, and your world champion isn't a tag team. Your world champion is a single man, and blah, 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 blah.
Right, yeah. Kofi's got to stand on his own 2 legs.
What if it's leading to they haven't been around because they're trying to flip on Kofi? What if they're going to flip on Kofi, and then that's going to cause Kofi to lose the belt?
Do you think it would be both of them?
It would be. I mean, you can't have New Day, like, one member of New Day flip. If you're going to have New Day flip, New Day's not there no more. New Day flips, and they're gone.
Man, I don't know, because, like, Xavier has gone in story on record that, Kofi's the greatest of all time and that Kofi's his hero. I mean, it would add to it, but I feel like the spotlight's more on Big E. I think if there was going to be a flip, I think that I think it would be just Big E.
It could be. You are probably right.
Again,
I'm the new guy coming in, but
you could paint it both ways.
I mean, if you're gonna kill New Day, you're gonna kill New Day.
Well, the second one of them turns on the others, New Day, because New Day is a trio.
Yes.
You take out one, it doesn't matter. You remove one of them, there is no more New Day.
Yes. So if you have Big E flip, how are you gonna play it out that New Day is no longer a thing? Like, you're just gonna.
Well, I mean, it would just be a tag team.
Yes, and then like you said, like New Day is a trio. You can't just like WWE. Again, I'm the new guy coming in, but I know enough that if Vince wants you to forget about something, he'll just stop writing it, and he'll just it just won't be there anymore. But New Day is a thing. You can't just write it out and hope we forget about it. That's New Day, man. Like, you think we're just gonna have Kofi and Xavier, and they're just not New Day anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to say, but it does look like. I mean, they're definitely planting the seeds that Big E could be turning, but they're not leaning too hard into it. And chances are, honestly, they really don't even know if they. Yeah, I don't think they do. But anyways,
that's valid.
Kofi's in the ring, hurt after his match. Paul Heyman appears by himself, with the briefcase, teasing, is he going to cash it in while he's sitting there, dangling the carrot.
Brock was out buying batteries for his boombox. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. He's buying batteries for his boombox. Kofi gets viciously destroyed from behind by Dolph Ziggler. Dolph worked him, man. Mm-hmm. Stomping a chair on his head, beating him against the table. I mean, and then being relentless. Even when it looked like Kofi needed doctors, Ziggler was fighting his way back in there to do extra damage, really, really taking out Kofi, who eventually was stretchered out, only to, at the end of the ramp, to get off the stretcher and leave under his own power, of course, being absolutely wrecked. Setting up their match at Super Showdown between Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler would come out later, but before that happens, we get the match that you were most excited for, and that you called the other week, too. You got Bayley and Becky Lynch versus the new tag team of Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans.
That wasn't me who called it. That was, I'm sorry if you're listening and you're the one that asked that question. At me, and I will correct myself, like instantly on Twitter. I will correct myself. That was one of our listeners asked me.
That was one of our. Oh, that's right.
They asked us, "Do we think that they're going to end up a tag team?" I think they were more asking, "Would they work better as a tag team?" But I mean, the fact that they made them a tag team answers your question. Like, they have chemistry.
Right.
They're there. They're both amazing. So I mean. I don't know. Yeah. But if you're listening right now and you asked that question, you have my full apologies.
Yeah, just hit us up, man. We'll credit you on the next show. We will.
I mean, if you want to call me out publicly, say, bro, it was me, or you want to DM me, whatever. Let me know. I apologize.
Before the match, Becky and Bayley Lynch were Becky and Bayley Lynch. Mm-hmm. Becky Lynch and Bayley were backstage, getting interviewed. Becky Lynch told Bayley, look, if there's anybody I would like to have the belt, it would be you, but make no mistakes. The second that this match is done, I'm coming for you. Bayley, being a true champ, says I wouldn't have it any other way. So just to kind of tease, is there going to be dissension, friction?
I'm sorry. Did you see the tweet with R-Truth? I'm sorry, guys. This is what I do. I'm about the goofy stuff. Did you see the tweet from Bayley tagging R-Truth? Did you see it? Bayley.
Oh shoot! Bayley trying to get R-Truth's belt.
Yes, and he's like, "You got one. You got one.
You got one already. Leave me alone."
You got one.
Was good. She eventually chased him up. That was good.
He hid it under his shirt. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. That's me. Just so you guys know, that's me. That's my style honestly, there.
I feel like honestly, you and I just need a where we. Just like, hey, daily Twitter update.
I'd be all about it.
Yeah, I know you would be all about it. But anyways,
fucking R-Truth is on there and he's at a crosswalk, and he's like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. He's got the belt strapped in the seatbelt.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can we talk about the show, Rob? Oh my gosh!
I'm the guy that Vince McMahon targets. I'm happy with anything.
I'm telling you, man, you are his target audience. I'm just gonna try and get through this. The match goes on.
If I'm overboard, tag me. Tell me if I'm overboard. He had this shit strapped in the car.
Jeez Louise, dude.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The match goes forward. Charlotte and Lacey Evans worked great as a team. They did. But there, even though there was tension between Becky Lynch and Bayley, there wasn't enough to throw the match. It actually ended with Bayley getting the win. I liked this. Bayley Lynch defeated Charlotte and Evans by pinfall. And I really like that they gave her the win to give her some shine. The match itself was kind of forgettable. However, having Bayley win is what really stuck out with me, and I think that's what they needed to do too. Is just get the new champ, get them with another win under their belt. Charlotte and Lacey Evans, we'll see what they do as a team afterwards. Now, next up,
I honestly, I just want to throw it out there. I don't think they're going to be a team. Moving on.
Probably not long.
I think this is but I just said it like 3 minutes ago. I'm the guy that Vince McMahon targets. You can throw anything in my face and I'm happy about it. I don't complain often. I really don't. I'm happy with whatever you put in my face. But I have to throw it out there that the tag division on both sides, men and women, is broken. We're getting random tag teams thrown into matches, and that's what this was. So all you guys out there that are unhappy with the product, I feel you on that one. I'm sorry. I just had to throw it out there and get serious for a minute. I'm not a serious guy.
You're good, man.
But the tag divisions are broken right now. You throw anything at me, I'm a happy dude. But I don't want to see these random Bayley versus Becky Lynches. And then next week, Lacey's going to be teamed with Becky Lynch. And they're going to be told you're taken out of the WrestleMania match if you flip on each other. I don't want to see that.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
And if I don't want to see it, then it's bad.
If something's getting to you, then yeah.
Valid.
Next up, we got probably some of the best acting I've seen in a while. Ziggler, being interviewed backstage, is asked to explain himself for his actions on beating up Kofi. He tells the interviewer, "I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to tell." He comes out and he cuts a very impassioned promo, which gradually grew more and more dramatic, to the point that, I mean, it sounded like he was going to cry. And essentially what it was is Dolph Ziggler shares a similar story as Kofi, with the exception that Ziggler actually has had the top prize once or twice. But essentially these guys carved the same path, man. They've been with WWE forever. He goes on about how Ali was injured. Kofi was the replacement. Kofi knocked it out the park, created the WrestleMania moment, all of that. And Ziggler's argument is it should have been me. And he's telling the crowd that not only, should have been me, you guys will love me, you'll respect me. And you can see that he's just gradually growing more and more frantic and downright desperate and slightly insane, to the point where it sounded like he was seriously going to cry. I was captivated, man.
It really did. But me being the funny guy I caught a meme on it, and I almost tagged Justin Timberlake and wanted him to chime in.
Oh, should have been. I already know where
it should have been me.
Yeah, I was like, it's.
That's what I got out of it. But I got that out of it because, again, I'm the guy on the outside looking in. I do have to say that I actually told you this in DM or before we started recording or whatever. Yeah. I knew it was Dolph Ziggler. And when he came in and he flipped on Kofi, I looked at my wife and I said, "Holy shit, that's Dolph Ziggler."
Right.
So I mean, what he said about Kofi, I can't confirm it because I wasn't watching. What I know is what I read on Yahoo. But what the point of me cutting you off to say this is, if I knew who you were just by seeing your blonde hair, then it's got to be valid. I mean, he has to have had done something to be more than words on a Yahoo homepage to me over the past.
What was really great about the promo too was he had an honest admission of, and even a sense of remorse from the violence and everything, which was refreshing because usually we get these one-dimensional characters. I'm good or I'm bad. You know what I mean? And now you have Ziggler. Granted, it could be a throwaway angle that's not dive too much, but credit to his acting and his character added more depth to it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a one-dimensional character in that promo alone. Had he just beat Kofi down and left it at that, and then said, "I'm jealous" or whatever, it would have felt like anything else.
Yes, it would have felt like everyday WWE that everybody complains about.
But hearing the tone in his voice and the remorse and the pain that was coming out, man, it was refreshing, man. I was like, Jesus. Yes. I was like, dude, this is some of the best acting I've seen in WWE.
If you're gonna nail a promo that's not on the "I'm gonna come out there and beat your ass" side, that's how you do it.
Yeah. But to hear him how he was, boy, it was tough. I liked it, man. I liked it. Unfortunately, Dolph Ziggler is one of those guys that Dolph Ziggler's his own worst enemy because of the fact that even though you're fresh on the product again, is he's been oversaturated over the years. The guy has just been overused. Characters gone start and stop so many times that it makes it hard to care about his character. You might have a fresher take on it since you've had the absence and you haven't had that take place. But for a lot of us, Dolph Ziggler gets a lot of hate now just because it's so hard. It's so hard to get behind him when it's weird because, like I said, it's a lot of start-stop. It is what's happened over the years.
I'm going to take this moment to give Fickle another shout because they were talking about this exact thing. And what if it's just a payday to him? Another shout to Fickle. This is your content. I'm taking this from you. This is not me at all. So nobody think that. What if it's another payday and he's here just to go fight Kofi at the Superstar Showdown because nobody else wants to fly over there? He's going to lose,
wants to go there.
And then all of a sudden he disappears for another 10 years.
Which
is why they put so much. Right. But it could be why they put so much into one promo. I'm going to win you over. I'm going to win your heart, and I'm going to break it in 2 weeks.
Well, see, I don't think – but that's still – oh, my God, you okay?
I dropped my phone. I'm okay. I talk with my hands a lot, and my hands hit my phone, and my phone.
I had a feeling. No, what I was going to say is you're absolutely right, but the thing that I would counter with is not everybody in the back could cut a promo like that.
Valid.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You could have the guy saying, like, go out there, be impassionate, you know what I mean, sell yourself. But, like, what Ziggler did was some legit stuff. Like, that is something you're not going to get out of everybody. And Ziggler's shown in the past, man, he had a great feud. I wish there was a way to give you the short answer or the short run of it. But he had a great feud with The Miz where he was on a losing streak and he was damn near a broken man. And he kept losing to The Miz time and time again in their feud, and eventually he cut a promo which was just super honest, man, and it was just like, yeah, things haven't gone my way, I'm down on my luck, everything sucks, and he's on the verge of crying once again, and he put his career on the line for the Intercontinental title, and the way it seemed was you were really like between Ziggler's work and then the stakes, you really actually went into that show thinking, well, damn, maybe he is going to retire because it ain't doing nothing special with him, you know, and it was good. So, I mean, Ziggler's known to cut really good promos. And even if they did call him in for a one-off, he could have easily phoned it in. To create a feud over the course of like 1 or 2 weeks. Right. You know what I mean?
I do want to throw it out there that I knew who the guy was. But, like, the only reason I knew who he was is remembering the blonde hair from past WrestleManias or pre-shows or whatever. I just want to throw it out there that
he's got a look, man. He's got a look.
Yes. Looking at the guy just from SmackDown, I don't like him. I don't want to see him on my TV anymore. Like, I just...
Jesus, that's rough.
Like, I just didn't like the guy. I'm like, why? Like, obviously, he's a thing if I knew who he was. Just from past memory. I've said it a lot of times. I got a bad memory. Just from seeing... Is he the guy that rolled up Sheamus in, like, that 30-second WrestleMania match? Random thought off the top of my head. Was that him or no? I know Sheamus got rolled up in, like, 30 seconds. Okay, that was just a random thought.
Sheamus had like an 18-second victory over Daniel Bryan.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. I
think that's what you're thinking of.
That's two completely unrelated memories fused together. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Scratch that. Like, I'm not gonna cut it out. Whatever. That's me, guys.
It's all good, man.
But obviously, the guy's like a thing. If I knew who he was, just coming from the outside and reading Google reviews for 11 years or however long it's been. But I didn't like the guy. I'm like, just from his promo and looking at him, like, he brought, like, the heart out of me, and I'm like, man, this guy's about to cry, but I just didn't like him. I don't know what it was. Like, just
no, I remember when I first
judging a book by
him,
its cover, I'm just like,
I think you'll like this. I remember when I first saw him, I thought of him as mini Billy Gunn because he had the famouser and the blonde hair, and I could not get that out of my head. Because he just seemed like a miniature badass Billy. and it took forever for me to separate that correlation with. It just didn't help. I didn't know who he was, and he had a famouser in his arsenal, and he had the slick blonde hair and everything.
I see it.
That was my thoughts on Ziggler when I first saw it. But yeah. So getting back to the show, we're at the final segment of the night.
Are we really? I don't even remember where we're at.
So good.
My Twitter going ham. I love y'all on Twitter. Just saying.
Yeah, man. You are it, dude. I need you to manage my damn Twitter, man. Give me some action. But after speaking with Shane McMahon, who promised to be in Elias's corner for Roman Reigns, we had a match between Roman Reigns and with Shane McMahon in the corner.
Yes.
Shane McMahon was, of course, making his presence felt multiple times throughout the match, trying to cost Roman the match. We've seen this all too many times. Roman is just an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? You have to put like 3 guys on him before you can stop him, and that's exactly what happened. So what's going on is at some point, Shane McMahon just feels that the match is not going to go Elias's way no matter what. So he grabs a chair. He grabs the guitar. He tries to go ahead and attack Roman. Roman gets out of it, gets the upper hand on Shane. As the match is DQ'd, of course, Roman then tries to turn the guitar on Shane, but receives probably the worst, and by worst, I mean most brutal Claymore kick I have ever seen from Drew McIntyre. Drew came in out of nowhere and hit Roman with a sledgehammer to the head. Oh my God, this thing made me jump when I saw it. And the thing is, I had to watch it a day late, and I saw the GIFs of it happening. And so when I watched the show, it still caught me off guard, like how brutal this shot was. But oh my God, it caught me off guard. And by the way, I misspoke. I'm actually misremembering the match a little bit. I apologize, you guys. Roman actually beat Elias by pinfall. He got the pin on Elias. It was only after he pinned Elias did Shane get fully involved and try to go all out and attack Roman. And all this took place. I promise my notes will be a little bit more clear cut. I thought I could go by memory, and that obviously is not working tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Anyways, though, that's how the show ended.
Mm-hmm.
McIntyre standing tall. I'm not going to say I'm mad at it because I, for one, I want McIntyre to be like the next generation's Triple H. I really think he could just be like an awesome villain through most of his career and like have spots here and there as a babyface. But I mean, the guy looks like $1 million. He's in incredible shape. He's one of those hybrid guys that he's really big, but he's also got quite a bit of speed on him, and he's lean. Can't say enough about McIntyre. But that's how SmackDown ended. Pretty good show. Easy to digest. Definitely prefer the 2-hour format over Raw's 3 hours.
Yes.
And I was glad to hear the behind the scenes. Fox was pushing to get the show up to 3 hours, and they've backed off of that. They're going to keep it at 2 hours.
That's good. I want to throw it out there.
Very, very good.
You guys will notice that I have random thoughts at random times, and I fire them sometimes.
No,
you
really?
mentioned, yeah, not at all. You mentioned you want Drew McIntyre to be the next Triple H.
Yeah,
Absolutely. The reason this random thought just fired in my head was you want a guy to be the next icon that we have right now. Now, the reason I'm bringing up this icon is because, guys, I went to the Attitude Adjustment Tour in 1997, a house show. You know who led off the house show? Hunter Hearst Helmsley in his British gimmick. Leading off a house show.
Was he under the Paul Levesque name at the time?
No, it was Triple H. It was Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Okay.
But he had the British music, and he did the British bow when he got in the ring, and he wore the robe, and he had the ponytail. And
dude, I've watched those promos. They are gold. I love watching Triple H use the fake like French accent. Oh my god.
Yes.
So
I was
funny,
around. You mentioned earlier that you weren't really into it at that time. I was. So I remember Triple H when he was the British guy before he became Triple H, when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and he
Some
was
of-
garbage. And it was
Some of these
because
wrestlers have to eat so much shit,
Oh,
dude, before
man.
they get to
like
make their
I'm
steak.
all about it. I will never forget that show to the day I die. Ultimate Warrior. Actually, I'm glad I brought this up. Another random fire thought in my head. Ultimate Warrior was supposed to show up to this show, and at the time I was a big Warrior fan, and I made I didn't have anything to work with. I took a piece of notebook paper and drew a Warrior face paint on it. Like you weren't gonna see it. I was in the nosebleeds, but I made it anyway. And I had a pink and a red marker, and I made it pink and red and whatever. And I was so ready to see Ultimate Warrior. But this was the time when he was a drunk and he wasn't showing up to shows.
Right.
He didn't show up.
Yeah.
He was supposed to face Owen Hart. Now, instead of Ultimate Warrior, we got Psycho Sid, and Psycho Sid's music hit the rant, 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 rant. It was great.
Jesus,
I'll never forget it. But it was a
God,
squash. No. As soon as the bell rang, Sid hit the choke slam, and he beat Owen Hart in 6 seconds. But I'll never forget how crushed I was. I'm like, I have this piece of paper with your face paint on it, and you're not going to show up. And I'll never forget Gorilla Monsoon on old-time WWF Wrestling was talking about Ultimate Warrior, how he got fired because he failed to show up at blah, 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 in Detroit.
Right, yeah.
I was like, man, I was so crushed. Like, I'll never...
Yeah, no, the Warrior back in the day, man, I mean, back then, the wrestlers had much larger egos than what you find nowadays in the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like back then, it was a lot of guys making names for themselves, when nowadays you see a lot of these wrestlers rallying together to build each other up. And granted, there's exceptions here and there, of course. Everybody, with fame does come, some form of pride or ego. But back then, yeah, man, so many wrestlers fell victim to their own ego. And the Warrior, yeah, I think, what was it? Like the Warrior, was it him that held, I want to say, like, the Intercontinental title? No. That was Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett held one of his belts for ransom against Vince and said, you need to pay me much more money or I'm not going to show up and have my final match or whatever. And so Vince was forced to freaking pay him. And then, of course, he had the match. I think it was against China in the Good Housekeeping match, I want to say it was, where they beat each other with just everyday objects found around the house.
Yes.
It was awesome. I remember that. I watched that. And then he was promptly fired afterwards, of course.
I'm glad you said that, because another random fired thought, guys, like wrestlers. I'm sorry. Wrestlers in these belts, like, is it under contract that just say you're signed with me, and I'm Vince McMahon? And, you are going to beat Daniel Bryan tonight for the World Wrestling Federation fucking championship. The big kahuna. Is that not still my belt because I'm Vince McMahon? Or is it under contract that you own that belt? The reason I'm asking is the screw job. Bret Hart. This is my last night in WWF.
Right.
I have the title. And one thing I do know is, from the outside looking in, talking to friends over the years, Bret Hart's contract contained creative rights, meaning if Vince McMahon said you're going to lose this match because of A, Bret could say, screw you, I'm winning because of B.
Well, from what I remember of the screw job, the Montreal screw job, which has been beaten to death, but from what I remember, it was that Bret's contract was about to expire because he wanted more money. Vince wasn't going to pay it, and so he was like, I'm off to WCW. And Vince was like, cool,
Yes.
but I need you to lose the belt now.
And Bret said no. I'm not trying to cut you off. Right. I'm not trying to get into the screw job. Like, I know you're right. That's beaten up. I just brought that up because what I'm trying to get to is Medusa, the original back in the early 90s.
Well, they didn't realize her contract expired.
Really?
So that was bad bookkeeping.
Oh, okay. You just answered my question. Okay.
They didn't realize her contract was set to expire, and Eric Bischoff was like, yo, we'll pay you all this money
to come throw the belt away on Nitro.
Just come over here So she was technically out of contract.
Yes.
Now, as far as ownership of the belt goes, I don't know exactly where that lies. From what I gather, I believe that there's a someone can correct me if I'm wrong, and
Yes,
I
guys,
probably
if
am.
you're listening, hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah.
This is like seriously a burning question. Like she threw the
But I
belt
believe
in
there's some sort of security deposit that comes from the
okay,
wrestler
that would make sense.
while they have the
Or
title.
like
So
did
if they
Bischoff
do damage it, lose it, or just
play and throw
flip
it
it
in
and
the
leave the
trash?
company, whatever, then the company is
Okay.
compensated. So I believe that, yeah, I don't believe it's their property, but there is some type of security deposit taken out just in case.
Okay, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes total sense.
and I mean after the Medusa incident, they paid much more attention to their contracts of their current title
Okay,
holders.
yes, yeah. Because
Yeah,
what
yeah,
brought it up was talking about the screw job again. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Brett was like, "I'm gonna go to WCW with the title." You're Vince McMahon. Like, okay, his contract's up. Give me my belt. Like,
Well, I don't think it
my
was
belt.
that. I think it was that he wanted more money.
Yes.
And Vince just said, "I can't pay you it." Vince, at that point, they weren't the billion-dollar company that
Yes,
they are.
they weren't making what they were making nowadays.
And
Yes.
Vince encouraged him to go. It was on good terms, but with Brett being the current champion, and the time crunch that they had, they were like, "Hey, look, you need to lose it here because of the contract issues." And I believe at this point, the Medusa incident had already happened.
Yes.
I could be wrong there.
Yes. Yes. The
but,
Medusa incident was like way early '90s.
But Brett, from what I gather, was saying like, "Look, I don't want to lose it in Canada. Obviously, you know what I mean. I'm a Canadian."
From what I've read, like they came up with like 100 million different scenarios, but he was being a dickhead and saying no to like every single one of them. I could be wrong. I'm an outside guy, but I could be wrong. Like
from what I remember is Brett kept saying he would drop it on Raw in the States. But and you're right, out of all the scenarios that were laid out and shot them all down, he was like, "I don't want to do any of these in Montreal. I'll drop it in the States on Monday Night Raw." Whoever it was, I've heard conflicting stories. It was Triple H, it was Earl Hebner, someone backstage just said, "Hey, look, we'll just get it off him tonight." You know what I mean? And that's ultimately what happened. But yeah, it wasn't ill will. It wasn't like Brett was being, from most stories will confirm this. It wasn't Brett saying that, "Screw you guys, I'm taking the belt to WCW."
Okay,
it was just more or less, "I don't want to lose it here in Canada, but my contract also expires, so you guys have to trust me that I'll lose it in the States." And then WWF at the time just wasn't willing to take that risk. You know what I mean?
he was on Raw the next night, and then that was it.
I don't recall that.
I
part.
think so. Yeah, because he spit in Vince McMahon's face.
No, that was the same night.
Was it the same night?
Vince came out. That was the same night. That was immediately after it happened.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels knew about the result, but they told Shawn to play oblivious in the ring.
Right. Which eventually led to a real fist fight because Shawn's like, "I don't know nothing," but yeah. Okay,
and then Vince came out, and that was the night Vince was exposed as the owner of the WWF. At that point, Vince's character role was just that of like a commentator every now and then.
Yes.
He wasn't known as the company owner
Yes,
and the
him
guy
and the
organizing.
King, early '90s, which I'll take that commentary over what we got nowadays anytime. Just throwing that out there.
That was the night that Vince. It was official. Like, oh shoot, Vince has a larger stake in this than what that's been portrayed. But anyways,
to the listeners, I'm sorry I don't know more on this subject. Like, I will be 100% honest. I mentioned earlier my uncle bought all the pay-per-views. I got to see everything except for the Owen Hart thing and Undertaker, Mankind, Buried Alive. I was sick that night, and he's like, "I'm sorry, you can't come to my house and get everybody sick." That's beside the point. I didn't realize, again, we didn't have Twitter back then, and I looked at it as it was real, and I didn't know what had happened. It took me years to realize what happened at the Montreal Screwjob. I thought Bret Hart tapped out, like I really did. And with the next night on Raw, I'm like, what? He tapped out. Like that's all there is to it. And then, down the road. But anyway, what sparked all of this question is Dean Ambrose and the Mox. Is he allowed to be in AEW? And bringing up my buddy Wally that I brought up earlier, he's like, no, there's a 90-day clause, no compete clause, saying that if you are done with the WWE, you got to wait at least 90 days to go anywhere else. I'm like, well, I was hoping, I don't know who the Mox is, but obviously Twitter does, and they made a big deal about this guy. So I'm like, sweet, I'm going to see this pop. And earlier I mentioned to you guys that I don't really know what's going on with AEW Saturday, and I'm keeping it that way. I kind of want it to be a surprise. And I was like, I don't know who the Mox is, but I know he's a big deal, and I know he's going to cause a pop, and I want to be part of it. But my buddy's like, no, he's not allowed to do it because of a 90-day compete clause. He can't. No, it was you can't be at their venue. And that stems back to my question. Is it that their belt? It stems back to Medusa throwing away the belt. That's when Vince was like, oh, no, But he also DM'd me on the side and said, look, I was wrong. But I don't know how valid he is. He could be wrong. But
no, I believe it's clear for him to show up. But
No. He's clear. Now, like I said, he could be very well wrong. But what he told me was he researched it. He's clear because he didn't get fired. If you're fired,
he let his contract expire.
Exactly. He bled it out to the end, which makes sense because they're like, there's a 90-day no-compete clause if you get fired. Because what if we decide that I hate you so much, I'm firing you with my belt right now? You can't take it to AEW the next night, but your contract expired. We're not going to do what I just learned from you, that they didn't know Medusa's contract was up and they had to strap on her. They're going to be like, okay, your contract's up in a week. You're losing the belt right now in my office. Okay, so that all makes sense. So the Mox could still be there, guys, just saying.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our questions. You've got 3 on your end, right?
Yeah, I got to bring them back up.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead because I've got 2 on. I've got 2 on my end, so we'll let you go ahead and start off with the first question.
Ooh, luckily they were right here. I love y'all on Twitter, man. Just saying, I love the fact that I talk to people on Twitter.
Dude, Rob loves Twitter, bro.
I really do. Follow me for a follow back, and you ask me anything, and we'll interact.
Yeah, I like Twitter too. Y'all can talk to me too, man. But obviously, he's got it down.
Okay.
All right.
Brain Splatter 87 at Splatter 87. Who will win the AAA tag titles at Double or Nothing?
Who's going to win the AAA titles at the AEW?
Yes.
View?
Yes.
Oh, man. Wow, that would go in with the predictions. In my opinion, okay, so I'm going to say it's going to be the Lucha Bros. Solely because Young Bucks beat them at AAA in Mexico, essentially their home turf. So it's the Young Bucks' turn to eat the pin in their turf. And at the same time, you've got the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, running this show. And I wouldn't think that they would book all of themselves to win their matches in their own promotion. So someone's got to eat the loss. And if anyone can look good while losing, it's going to be the Young Bucks. So I say it's going to be the Lucha Bros for that reason.
Okay, that's a valid answer. My answer is, I've mentioned it a couple times here recording, I don't know what's going on Saturday. I know who the Young Bucks are. I don't know who the Lucha Bros are. I didn't even know that's who the Young Bucks were facing until you and I talked about it before we hit the record button. You explained to me a little bit who the Lucha Bros are, and honestly, I'm hype about this match.
Dude, they're nasty, bro. I'm telling you, the Lucha Bros are. And the Young Bucks. Hell, I've got a signed Young Bucks poster here in my room, my studio, game room, whatever recording area this is. But they're both teams are nasty, man. They are so fun to watch. If you've never seen either of them, Brock,
I haven't.
Yeah, Rob, you are in for a treat when
I'm
you
excited.
see these guys.
I'm
You are
excited.
in for a treat, bro.
Like I said, I'm keeping it. Like I haven't looked at anything. I've watched a couple of the Road to AEW or Double or Nothing videos on YouTube or whatever. Like I know the gist of what's going on with the company.
Dude, you are
I paid my
not
$50, and I did it without. Okay, I want to be part of the new wrestling, even if it's a flop. I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
To answer my question, I don't know who the Lucha Bros are. I know who the Young Bucks are, and that's from years of paying attention. I've heard their name. I've watched videos of them wrestling at 12 years old when their father built them an official wrestling ring. So my answer is going to be the Young Bucks. Solely, solely off the reason of, I could be 100% wrong here, and I'll live up to it if I am. AEW is new, and they're trying to catch the new guy. So, going off of, I know who the Young Bucks are, but I don't know who the Lucha Bros are, they're going to put the Young Bucks over to make me happy. I could be 100% wrong, but that's my reasoning for picking the Young Bucks, because I know who they are. I want to see them win. I don't know who these Lucha Bros are, but halfway through the match, I can be like, oh my God, these Lucha Bros are the best thing in the world of
both
wrestling.
Of them are, man.
And I want them to win. So, my answer is Young Bucks solely off of, I know who they are.
Okay. Good answer, man. We'll see. Our next question comes to us from, I'm sorry here, Great Love 91, Vanessa Vasquez.
She's asked us two or three, just so you know.
She asked us, who do you think should be Bayley's first challenger? She also goes on to say, is this the weekend where Shayna Baszler NXT match? If so, where does she go, and who does she feud with? So it's kind of like a two questions here. We're going to let her get away with it. I'll give a pretty brief answer. Bayley's first challenger, man, it's a toss-up. She's SmackDown champion. The division is pretty stacked on SmackDown. Off the top of my head, let's just say Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch says that that's her first target. Becky Lynch gets one match to try and regain the SmackDown title to Becky 2 belts again. Ultimately, I think Becky will fail because we need two champions. Now that Becky doesn't have both belts,
it makes sense.
Yeah, let's have two champs.
Becky 2 belts was great, but it's time for
it's done now, so let's leave it be done. As far as the second part goes, Shayna Baszler. Rob, I know you're not too familiar with her. I'll give you a brief little thing. Shayna Baszler is she's essentially NXT's Ronda Rousey. She's a real-life UFC veteran. She's not as decorated as Ronda. Ronda obviously was a phenom and held like a championship and successfully defended it multiple times, where Shayna Baszler never got to the title, but is well recognized in the MMA community. And she's adapted very well in WWE, and she's become a phenom down in NXT. And when I say phenom, I mean phenom. She destroys people. Rarely does she take a loss. If this is her last NXT match, man, the women are so stacked up in the main card. Be hard to add. It's like if you add more women, you've got to start subtracting them.
Yes.
Or you got to get this tag scene going more. But so I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. Shayna remains in NXT. But if she does come up, I bet she's gonna go to Raw, and she's gonna go straight for Becky, to kind of be reminiscent of the Becky Ronda feud, and go straight to Becky Shayna Baszler. So, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think she's gonna stay in NXT for longer. And that's where I'll go with it.
My answer to this would be, I mean, you said it best. Like, the women's division is stacked. There's so many good women out there. So my answer is gonna be, I'm not gonna take the logical what should the storyline be route. I'm gonna say she should fight a Nikki Cross. Now,
so who's Bayley's opponent?
Yes, the answer is Nikki Cross. Because
Nikki
screw
Cross.
the brand split.
Sweet.
I just want to throw it out there. I meant to tweet this.
Yes.
I meant to tweet this out. Somebody posted one of the 30-day challenges. Every day you answer one question, and you just keep tweeting with the picture. The first question was, who's your favorite Raw superstar? I'm going to be honest, guys. I couldn't answer it because I don't know who's who. Who is who?
Jesus.
And I was like,
we host a wrestling podcast.
And I've said it numerous times. I'm the guy coming in, and I have a bad memory, and I know my stuff enough to keep up with you guys. But I don't know enough. I don't remember who's who. I'll be 100% honest with that. Now, if I kept seeing Roman Reigns on Monday and then Dean Ambrose on Tuesday, I know he's gone, but it's off the top of my head, then I'd have a difference. But we're seeing the same people on Tuesday, and we're seeing the same people on Monday. So I can't even answer that question. And to answer a tweet, I wasn't doing research. I'm not even. So that's going off track. I know Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Champion. I don't know if Nikki Cross is on Raw. I don't know if she's on SmackDown. I don't know if Alexa Bliss is on Raw. I don't know if she's on SmackDown. My answer is Nikki Cross, and I say that for two reasons. One, I'm a Nikki Cross stan. I want to see Nikki Cross succeed. I'll keep it brief. I said that in a previous episode. I didn't know who Nikki Cross was until she came out at that house show that I mentioned earlier, and I instantly fell in love. I'm like, this music is amazing. She's got a good gimmick. She's running to the ring. She's trying to bite people. That's amazing. So the first half is I'm a Nikki Cross stan. The second half is your women's division is so stacked and your ratings are down. Try something new. Have Nikki Cross in there going for a title shot. Even if she doesn't win it, like Bayley fighting Charlotte Flair, that's so we've seen it. Bayley fighting. Well,
usually the first feud is a failed attempt by the challenge.
Yes. So go ahead, let Nikki be the failure.
Champ lose their belt on the first go. So yeah.
Let Nikki be the failure on my television. At least I seen my girl in action. You're trying something new. Don't have her fight well, I'd say Ruby Riott, but I guess she's out. She had shoulder surgery. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I didn't realize that she was.
I don't think anybody knew she was out. Like I thought that they just got pushed aside from the shakeup.
I usually pride myself being on the pulse of like what's going on in the wrestling world.
Right. I think they just kept it under wraps and nobody knew. I don't know. But anyway, my answer is Nikki Cross simply because A, I'm a Nikki Cross stan, and B, throw something new out there. We've seen the same girls in the same stacked division. Nikki Cross came up fresh. She's hanging out with Alexa Bliss. Boom. My answer is Nikki Cross. Try something fresh.
Okay. All right. So
the fact that I'm a Cross stan just happened to play out into my answer. And I have a logical reason too. Nikki Cross because she's Nikki Cross. Okay. Next question. Charlie Tweeter at turtle_BITW. This guy's always showing us love too, just so you know. Do you see Jericho possibly holding both the IWGP and AEW championship?
Man, the next undisputed, like Chris Jericho, the undisputed champion, the first ever in WWE, and then become another undisputed champion, AEW, New Japan. Oh my God, could you imagine? What do you think, Rob? Though, what do you think? Do you think he's going to do it?
I think he's going to end up with the AEW title.
Right.
Again, that brings up earlier, I don't know much about AEW. I'm the guy coming from the outside. I know who Chris Jericho is. So you put the strap on Chris Jericho. I'm like, hey, their champ is a guy I know. I want to keep watching.
It's going to bring eyes to the product.
As for the IWGP title, I'm going to be honest, guys. Again, I don't know what that title is. My buddy Kyle here filled me in on what the title was before the show started. From what I'm told, the guy's a beast that holds it. So
Okada, yeah, bro.
Based off of solely that, I think the
Rainmaker!
answer is no.
Sorry.
I think the answer is no. You don't bring in this new promotion and then give Jericho the AEW title. I'd be all about that. But you don't give him this other prestigious title that I just learned today was a prestigious title just because he's Chris Jericho. So I think the answer on that is no, but that's coming from a guy who doesn't know enough on the subject to answer the question. I'll be honest.
Well, I think you do know enough, and I'll because I can kind of play devil's advocate. And
wait, say that again. You cut out bad that time. You don't know what? You don't think what?
I said I think actually, believe it or not, you do know enough.
Okay.
To answer it, and it's the level of prestige that Chris Jericho brings to a product, like what you said. So like my answer is I'm going to say no, but it's a very slim margin. There is a high chance that, yeah, he could hold both, and I'll explain why. But first, I'm going to explain why no, and I'll keep it brief. And you know what? Let's summarize it. I believe Chris Jericho at some point will hold the AEW championship, but is not going to hold the New Japan championship. And I'll explain the New Japan because Okada's John Cena. Like, that's it. Let's just simplify it there. Most of you guys, if you've watched New Japan, you get what I'm saying. Like, Okada is the damn John Cena over there. And he deserves it. It's not just John Cena, like he looks good. I mean, but the guy does look like $1,000,000. He comes out, it's raining money over the entire stadium, the Tokyo Dome. You know, he comes out dressed and draped in gold, and people lose their mind for him. Like, the man is amazing. But AEW, granted, they're not going to want to lean too heavy on past WWE guys, but Rob hit the nail on the head. Because people from the Attitude Era coming forward, they're going to recognize Chris Jericho. And if you have a startup company, a startup promotion, you're going to want something that's going to bring eyes to the product. And saying that Chris Jericho is your world champion is going to do it. So will he be the inaugural champion? I don't know. But I believe at some point he will hold the title. I think he confirmed that he signed a 3-year deal with them. So in those 3 years, I could definitely see him holding the championship. Now, if you're going to make an argument that he will win the New Japan title also, the only argument I see is the one I just laid out. New Japan right now is trying to work its way into the United States and into a Western audience. And for that reason, it's the same thing. Chris Jericho is well known with us. You know, you put a belt on him, chances are you're going to draw more Western to your product. Mm-hmm. New Japan seems to respect their world title more than, say, WWE at times. Mm-hmm. And I just think for that reason, they won't do it. They held out for a long time with putting it on Kenny Omega, you know, as a gaijin or a outsider. So ultimately, my gut says no. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up holding them both and holding them simultaneously. Jesus, could you imagine? Could you imagine the picture? You would take the picture of Chris Jericho when he was awarded the Undisputed Championship way back in the day, and he had the WCW belt and the WWF title, and then you have that picture directly next to Chris Jericho holding the New Japan title and the damn AEW. My God, dude, that would be so cool. Dude, it sends chills, man, thinking about it. That would be cool as hell. I don't see it, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised because it makes sense. But for an official answer, no. I don't think you hold both. I think you hold AEW, just not the New Japan belt.
Valid.
Yeah, man.
I do want to throw it out real quick. I forget the name of the podcast. Like, I swear to God, like, it was a professional video. They had like a studio, and there was video to it. They were interviewing Chris Jericho, and like the reason earlier I mentioned my fire thoughts. They just randomly happened. Like how he's known. Which is why I clicked on the podcast to begin with. Like, I'll be honest, guys, I was checking our viewers on YouTube. I was like, oh, who actually hit us up on YouTube? And whatever. Anyway, it was like, blah, 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 we're this podcast. Like, I'm sorry, guys, if you ever happen to hear this and I forgot your name, I apologize. I have a bad memory. He was talking about how John Cena and him went over at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And how he thought he was going to have to pay for it. But Vince was like,
"No, I remember I know what you're talking about."
I don't know, which I want to throw it out there. I didn't understand what he meant by pay for it. Like, do they have to pay for extra?
Well, no,
time?
I think he went against what the booking was. Is what it was. I saw the interview recently. I had it playing while I was studying for getting licensed to sell insurance, but that's a different thing. Yeah, but I remember listening to it, and I remember him talking about. He went against the booking. but he stuck up for himself and he told Vince, he was like, "Look, man, I'll pay for it."
And Vince said, "No, I'll pay for it."
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Exactly. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I forget who it was with, but you're right. It was very good, and I loved that interview.
Yes.
If you guys, it's a recent interview because it's promoting the
so go
the nothing.
Go look
it up.
It's very good. I didn't get to watch all of it because I was adulting, and like I ain't gonna lie, I had to turn it off because I had responsibilities and I was getting looks from the wife.
Yeah.
She's like, "Dude, you're watching wrestling crap again." So I turned it off. But and then he was talking about how he got hit, like they were in the UK and DX was selling glow sticks. And he got hit in the face with a glow stick.
That's where the clip came from.
And he told the fans, "Keep throwing them, come on!" So they started whipping him. And the next day, he heard that Stephanie is it Stephanie? He said was like, "Yeah, you're gonna get fined." And the next day, Vince was like, "Whatever."
Yeah, he left. He said he cut a promo on Vince in a voicemail or something, and I was like.
Yes,
dude, that's when you know that you were born for the business.
That's what it was.
Is when you say you cut a promo in a voicemail, and you know what I mean.
And Vince fucking responded with a smiley emoji.
Yeah, dude, that's so good.
Okay,
anyways,
I'm sorry, guys. I went off track again. Next question, it's on you.
Yeah, let's get to the next question. But if you guys haven't seen it, look up Chris Jericho's.
Good. It's very good. It hooked me.
I think it's actually, you know what? Off the top of my head, I believe it is Bubba Ray Dudley's podcast. I believe it's the Busted Open.
That's what it was.
One. I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's Bubba Ray Dudley's one.
Oh my god, that guy looked like Bubba Ray. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, it was. It's just, but yeah, that's what it was. It's the Busted Open podcast. Go check it out, you guys. It was amazing.
It was good.
Anyways, the next question comes from Shat Wrestling. It says, two completely different shows, but which one are you most excited for? AEW's Double or Nothing or NXT's TakeOver, and why?
I am excited to answer this.
Go ahead.
Solely because I've said it a couple times. I haven't paid attention to what AEW is bringing me Saturday. I want it to have a surprise element. I know the main card, Jericho's fighting Omega. I've never seen Omega fight. But I know who he is. I know the name. I know he's a big deal. And obviously he's a big deal if you're going to put him in the guy we just talked about for 20 minutes. You know,
Chris Jericho.
Yes, like having Vince McMahon sending smiley emojis when other guys he would have fired them. I don't know what's going on with AEW. I don't have much time in my life, guys. I don't watch NXT.
It's
like I know.
He's got 4 children, folks.
I have 4 children, and I work 65 hours a week, and then I plan on.
Gracious,
I plan on putting an hour into a podcast, and we're like 2 hours in, bro. So I mean, I'm just saying.
This is by far our longest one so far.
I'm enjoying this, though. I'm enjoying it. I love doing this. I'm not trying to say that the length that we use is bad. I'm enjoying it, but I don't watch NXT. I know I like the bro dude. And I watched his match with Cody Bebe or Adam Bebe or whatever,
bro, dude.
Whatever the guy's name is, and that match was amazing. I don't.
Oh my god!
I'm excited to answer this because I know nothing about either product.
That's right.
I'm going to watch the NXT TakeOver because you told me to. You said they're amazing.
Yes.
The hour-long shows that I have got to watch, I enjoyed. Like the Dream guy. He comes out, Velveteen Dream, and I'm like, wow.
Bro, dude. I'm sorry.
Like, Velveteen Dream? I'm like, I see why people love this guy. Who came out? Who's the big deal right now? The guy that came out, and he's, like, got the glowy gear, and, what the hell is his name? Somebody tweeted it took 20 seconds to make a superstar. Why can't I think of his name?
I mean, the only guy I know that...
he came out on Velveteen. Velveteen was cutting a promo, and the guy came out... You know, I swear to God, I said I was going to remember this name solely for this moment, and I keep saying I got a bad memory, guys.
Well, go ahead and answer. I'll look up who...
Okay, yes.
I don't keep up with NXT as much as I should either.
I go off track a lot, guys. I'm sorry. My answer is AEW. I've watched NXT, and NXT is amazing. Like, the little bit I've gotten to watch is great. You've told me the takeovers are sometimes better than the WWE pay-per-view. My buddy Wally is now...
In-ring wise, and they're better 100% of the time.
Yeah, okay.
No,
yes.
like 100% of the time, the matches are.
And my buddy Wally, who this is my 4th time now mentioning him, has told me, watch NXT. NXT is better than WWE.
Are you talking about Tyler Breeze, by the way, to cut you off, as far as glowing?
Maybe. Like, he wasn't like, I'm not talking like Naomi glowing, but he had like loud gear on. His gear was like colorful.
It's probably Tyler Breeze. Did he walk out with like a self-stick?
No, I don't think. Maybe.
All right, well, never mind. Anyway,
like,
which one are you more excited
the only reason
I
know he did is because I was scrolling Twitter. And like, so if you happen to listen to this and you're the guy that tweeted it took 20 seconds to make a superstar, your tweet caught me. Let me know it was you. My answer is AEW solely because we don't know what they're gonna bring to the table. I've seen NXT. I've seen a little bit of NXT, and it made me happy. But AEW could be better. So my answer is AEW because it could have that element of surprise and blow us away. There's my answer. AEW.
I'm going to agree with Rob. I do catch the takeovers. I don't watch the weekly programming for the same reason Rob said is I just don't have enough hours in the day to watch AEW or NXT weekly. I really don't. But I do make sure to watch all the takeovers. But the reason why I say AEW excites me more is just because it is the new thing, and I've watched the Road to Double or Nothing, and I've watched the Being the Elite YouTube videos, and they're very fun. But it's this thing that, like, I'm not as dissatisfied with WWE as a lot of people, but I do agree that something needs to change. I don't feel like they have a direction anymore, and I feel like AEW being the fresh company on the block is not necessarily going to be the cure-all, but it's going to definitely leave a mark, and it's going to create competition, and I hope ultimately at the end of the day, it just makes the wrestling product better all around. WWE wise, independent scene. I hope AEW kills it. And I just hope that, because that's all I want, man. I've noticed that when I watch New Japan, super entertained. When I watch WWE, hit or miss. And I'm hoping that AEW will make WWE just come back to that more consistent product. So I don't know. I mean, that doesn't really lead too much into my answer. But at the same time, like I said, it's AEW. Like I said, it's the new product. I'm going to watch both. They're both, I'm sure, going to be amazing. But you know what I mean. You got the new thing. You got to watch the new thing. That's what it comes down to. So AEW for me. That's what it is. Rob, what's our last question?
I just want to throw it out there that talking about the NXT takeovers, I did watch, what's his name, Johnny Garganza, Johnny Champion, when he won the belt at the last NXT, and that 3 count was absolutely amazing.
Adam Cole, yeah, bro.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing.
Watch if there's one NXT match. Listeners, if you're still with us, Rob just said he doesn't watch NXT. Go ahead, leave down in the comments on Twitter. Let us know what NXT matches Rob needs to watch, because we know there's so many classics, and Rob is going to be amazed. My personal pick, Rob, you need to watch, I believe it was NXT Brooklyn, maybe Brooklyn 2, but it was Sasha Banks and Bayley. Bro, that match tore the house down and was one of the most pivotal moments in women's wrestling. You gotta watch Bayley, Sasha Banks, NXT TakeOver, Brooklyn 2, whichever one it was. You watch that, it will blow your mind. I promise you. But yeah, let's get on to the last question of the night, man. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sure our viewers, if you're sticking around, man, you guys are effing amazing. If you're still here.
If you're still here, you're a saint.
But go ahead, bro.
Okay. Old school pants. I was talking
Old
about him
School
earlier.
Pants,
Again,
your buddy.
I want to shout him real quick. Old School Pants, check him out. If you're into Impact, that's what he podcasts. I don't watch Impact. I tried watching Impact. I tried going on Twitch, but I couldn't figure out what was the most recent show, and that turned me off. I don't want to watch old stuff. Again, I don't have time. So if I'm going to watch something, I want it to be most updated. I want it to be new. That's beside the point. He does Impact, and listening to just his podcast, I want to know who won the match, just from what he was saying. Anyway, at Old School Pants, if you're booking the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, who wins to face the winner of Johnny Omega and Chris Jericho for the AEW title? Who wins the Battle Royal to face the champ?
Boy, ain't this like the hardest effing question to answer for us who are WWE guys for the most part.
My man's on a different level. This is my second time praising him tonight. Just saying.
Yeah, no. So like I said, the guys that I know that are in this match most likely to recognize is going to be Shawn Spears, aka oh God, why does his name fleet me right now? His WWE name, Perfect 10. What the heck? Why am I remembering his real name? His WWE name for some reason. Shawn Spears. Ty Dillinger. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Ty Dillinger. You got Ty Dillinger and you got Badass Billy Gunn. You got Brian Pillman Jr., Brian Pillman's son, and then you got Glacier. Those are probably the big names that you'll know out of the multiple that are coming up. Personally speaking, I think it's going to be it's a toss up between MJF, I believe is the guy's name. Let's see here. Is it MJF? MJF. Yeah. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who is just an amazing young heel. Between him and Ty Dillinger, but there's also a couple of vacant slots. I'm going to say you need a good heel in the first championship match. And when you have Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, it's going to be hard to boo either one of those guys. So for that reason alone, I'm going to, because he's such a detestable heel.
Okay, you cut out again. Go ahead and answer that again. Just the last part of your answer.
Okay, so my answer is going to be for the sole basis that he is probably the most detestable heel.
If you're listening, I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead and go one more time and cut out again.
It's all good. We can edit this anyways, man, you know?
I'm not editing. I'm just rolling, man. This is like a 3-hour show. I'm not editing. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, I know. It's MJF because he's such a good heel.
Okay.
That's my answer.
There we go. We got that one in. Okay. Again, I don't know much about the product I'm watching. I paid $50 on it in good faith, and I'm excited. I'm ready for this product to be good. I think it's going to be good. That's beside the point. I'm rambling again. My answer is, and I learned this answer 5 minutes before Kyle and I started recording, because I was like, hey, Kyle, I got these questions. I don't know the answer. Give me an answer. So he said, well, Glacier's in it. So, boom, right there, that was my answer, because Glacier was
Glacier, son! Sub-Zero!
Sub-Zero was part of WCW back in the Attitude Era when the Monday Night Wars happened. You guys already know. If you're here with us, you know I'm an Attitude Era guy. I like the Monday Night Wars. I can tell you what happened in WCW, what happened in WWF. But then he told me that Badass Billy Gunn was in this Battle Royal.
Sir.
Now, my all-time favorite thing ever out of wrestling ever was D-Generation X. My favorite tag team ever was the New Age Outlaws. So my answer is...
you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know. My answer is, Billy Gunn win the Battle Royal. You have Omega or Jericho, whichever one you want, to win the title. And then you have Billy Gunn do the famouser, stomp his face into the ground, win the title, and because I learned also 5 minutes before we did this podcast that Road Dogg left
Billy
WWE,
Gunn, the inaugural
AEW
champion.
You have Road Dogg hit the music. Oh, you didn't know? And out of nowhere, I'd like to introduce your second All Elite Wrestling Champion of the World.
Dude, that would be the coolest shit ever.
It's never going to happen in a million years.
Hell no, it ain't, but that is so awesome.
I can either A, pick an answer out of my ass on a product I don't know, or B, I can try to be the funny guy.
I love that answer. I want that to be what fucking happened so bad right now.
I mean, he left WWE, which means he's not under contract with anybody. You can, even if for that one moment, oh, you didn't know? Boom.
Oh, my God. And then he loses the title like the very next week.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I have a new ringtone.
You have a new ringtone. Oh, my God, you guys. That's such an awesome stop. Thank you so much for joining us on this extra long episode of the Smackdown podcast. You can catch us next week when we cover Raw and SmackDown and all the other stuff. But, man, yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. Rob, what you got to say to the folks?
We want comments, guys. Like, if you listen to this and you don't comment, cool. Like, I'm coming from another, off track, whatever. I used to stream Destiny.
Dude, just hit us up, man. Hit us up, please.
I used to stream Destiny, and when you stream on Twitch, you have lurkers. The people that enjoy your content but don't say anything. More power to you. If you're a lurker and you listen to us and you don't say anything, more power.
Hey, I'm a lurker in a lot of stuff, man.
But if you're not the lurker type, let us know how we do. Like, I mean, tonight, we went like 2 hours. If you're cool with that, let us know. If you're not cool with that, I will try my best to not have fire thoughts. And
hey, who said it was your fault, Rob?
That's valid. That's valid. Oh, you didn't know? Speaking. Just one more quick thing. I say it again.
One more.
Coming from the outside, looking on the inside over the years, and I just told you guys that I came from the Destiny community. I was talking to one of my Destiny friends, and like something happened in the Destiny game, and I didn't catch it right away. And in our chat, she goes, "Oh, you didn't know?" And I was like, "Oh my God, no way!" So I looked up, "Oh, you didn't know" on Spotify. Like I looked up the New Age Outlaws theme, and it is number 17 in my most played songs in my 2017 Spotify Top 100.
Oh my God, Rob. Okay.
Because of that moment, I just want to throw that out there.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You all have a next time on the Smacked Raw podcast. Have a great night. Jesus, Rob, you're funny.